Look up at the west floor. I know exactly who is next to him. It was cold for an hour, waiting for you to finish this battle. I will definitely settle with him. Based on the suggestion. Low-level monastic practitioners. In turn the fire force. Start knitting. Not long after that. Sound and howl. The voice of the Lord also echoed in turn. Complete knitting training agent. Knit pharmacy inspection. The result is BA high-quality knitting tablets. 2 tablets 5 knitting products. Sternly smiling coldly contemptuous bowlip. Of course, the teacher is right. Make way for these scraps. What a waste of time. Then he looked at the next leg. Laughing and saying, "Don't tell me, old man. You have in your hand a fire beast of level 4. You can only make 5 products. Ha ha, old man, you are defeated, even dare to speak the same. The fire is stronger than you. How can you win against Lao Tzu?" The best way to hear him. In my eyes there's a flash of light. Angry say bad. Knitting techniques. It's not just the power of fire. Last time he lost speed. But talk about the old knitting technique. Absolutely no less. Your son. The last 2 legs have started to move. The fire beast of the level 4 beast also appeared. Then immediately bite your teeth and spray a sip of blood into the top lot. Very quickly knitting medicine has been trained. He put the medicine in his hand. On the serious side, provocatively said, "Boy, do you see this as a sign?" Strictly unable to speak up. The girl next door was scared. Master Liu has trained into 6 high-quality knitting medicine. This word just came out. Everyone in the audience immediately screamed in amazement. CAID 6 high-quality dawn. Even the master has just finished the 6th grade. Can't do it either. I seriously see this situation, nor willing to give up. Take out the level 6 beast's fire beast and start training. Not long after. He also has the most feet. That spits a sip of blood into the top lot, merged with the purple fire gear. The fire was extinguished. A blue-colored knit also quickly shot raw. Fall into the hands of the stern. He slowly came to the front of his feet. The corners of his mouth swirled. "Old man, see how this is mine." Take a deep look at him. Save most feet reluctantly bowed. No more words. The face is a little sad. You can look at this and laugh out loud. Hurry up and get close. Check the pharmacy on his hand. Then shout for an hour. Strictly trained Prince Ross 7 inferior products non. End words. People are once again being a terrified fan of something. 7 qualities of monk training. 7 products except tongue's poison. Pharmacy electric. And then there's another teenager. Peach looked at the 2. A big a small squabbling in front of. Don't let her in your eyes. She bit her teeth and screamed. In his hands appeared a pink flame. Then bite the tip of your tongue. Sipping out blood at the same time. Waiting for the fire to go out. Peach Dawn Lady weakened, holding the medicinal knitting tablet in her hand, showing a satisfied smile. Horrified to look at her, she asked. But it is the dedication to knitting, and oh. Keep your eyes on the bottom and be serious. Determine cold damage. Bad old man, I just want to let you know the people. Outer right heaven. Your knitting skills are far behind. 182 accepted. At this moment, the frightened coward screams. To the side of the boat. Oh my God, this is food. This word just ended everyone's boiling again. Only the most serious and saved feet glanced at each other. In my eyes is doubt. Old woman too. We settled our grievances that time in the imperial capital. What are you messing with Theo about? Peach looked at the two people. It's okay to have a little massage. Your opponents are many. Not because of a win or loss. Until now. I looked at her and asked the old woman too. We are willing to keep our wings in our hearts. What does winning have to do with you? And the one standing next to me is the one standing next to me. But the most saved foot suddenly amazed. Look over there. He grumbled with fear and looked at me. People right now. He turned his eyes to the serious. Looking forward to his next move. You have to know that in the final of this game, if it's not the most obvious phenomenon, then he is the most worthy man for the position of king. The present is the most certain. This war is so much to look forward to. Seriously, he's blinking his eyes right now, looking towards the most evil. Eyes came up. Tia was determined. Soon after, the fire appeared in the sky. He once again took a sip of his heart. When I saw this scene, I immediately shouted, Master! Seriously, of course I understand. Strictly used once. The injury is not mild. Now he's using it again. The damage is getting worse. If he continues like this, he will not survive. Serious tongue. You may not know the consequences of this. But then why? He just wants to win once for sure. In today's war. He soon ignored it. Just because you want to fight once with your opponent. He only met 15 years ago. He really wants to do his best. Even his life is not regretful. Even when people aren't completely amazed. Strictly continue to spray into the top lot. Another sip of enthusiasm. Look at him like that. Even the Den Nun can't help but be afraid. The old man is crazy. Just keep practicing. It can improve the quality of medicine. But it's absolutely life-threatening. This time I really felt like a fire. He's really worried. Let his master try to run towards the serious. Scared, screaming, Master, what are you doing today? Right now, most people are still closing their eyes. Suddenly he opened his eyes to look seriously. Smirking provocation. I seriously see that. The air is burning. Continue to transport the chemical and chemical raw materials. Long nines stand above, see the whole. Confronted with seriousness. But not out of admiration. The king of medicine is not a good man. But the attachment to knitting. It really makes people respect. Tiger is a title. The first monk training of heaven. Regardless of these reviews. Strictly below the radio, still focus and practice knitting. Because right now, he really just wants to win. Probably the most. Seriously, head towards the top again. Spray your heart into. Everyone is amazed at the same time. Look at his life. They also keep waiting for the results. They use their lives in exchange. Long Nine saw this scene. I can't help but scream. The king of medicine. I want to give you medicine. It's been more than 1,000 years. An AI that can train Ra to knit medicine with life. But now the king of medicine can do it again. A moment later, the fire suddenly cracked. Accordingly, a white medicinal tablet radiates. It's like laughing creatures flying into the air. Save the most feet standing on the knitting platform. The whole business stuttered. Here it is. Not waiting for him to finish, the boy hurried to speak strangely. Obviously, this medicine has passed the 7 extreme products. It doesn't seem to have reached 8. What is this? I heard her ask. But I am not in a hurry to answer. His eyes widened to the surest side where he stood. It's very obvious. This is his declaration of war. For the most evil. I can't help but laugh for an hour. Probably most casually speaking. This medicine is still at level 7. It is the most perfect of the 7. If you're going to define it as a masterpiece. But in the process of knitting, the most difficult thing to do is perfect knitting. So it's the best. But the value is not 8. Knitting is usually comparable. Words just came out. Everyone is terrified at the same time. This was the first time they'd heard of it. It's just Danish food. However, it is superior to 8 Danish products. Super Dawn is absolutely not easy to train. It's possible to train raw absolutely. It can only be genius in genius. One-hand pharmacy. Only one person deserves it. So that he doesn't care about his life. High and low with him. The 9-year-old is looking the hardest. Worry urgently. I don't know if I'll deal with it. That Hong Fu Than Ven over there silently looked at him. The intention to kill him is still unresolved. Probably the most thoughtful for a long time. In everyone's waiting eyes. Take a breath. That's what happens when the corners of your mouth pop. Then come. 183.9 long acupressure. According to the laughter. Probably the best again. Turn your eyes to the serious. Who once in a while took 5 sips? They must lose their lives. Old man, he practiced knitting today and kept spraying out for sips. Enough doses. If we don't take out some of the real bravery. I seem a little sorry for you. Seriously, hear this word. Not just not worried, but there's also the euphoria. Of course. It's like looking seriously excited. Probably the most. Smiling for an hour. Go to the top next door. He is not in a hurry to learn. That in the hand appeared the spirit stone. Then fly towards the battle line on the radio. It's a weird trick. People can't help but look at each other. In the eyes of suspicious or master song. What do you want to do? But what does knitting and combat training have to do with each other? I don't pay attention to people's reactions. In the hand, the worst of all, there's a bullet in your mouth. Endlessly muttering. The sky is open for us. The 4 living beings enter the battle. My market is a natural match. Lake Ho Long photo entered Lin Don export. Lifting according to his scream. The ground suddenly shook. From the air, there are always strange lights. Heading towards the match. Everyone who saw this scene was suspicious or screaming. How to do it? This one too. The 9 dragons suddenly appeared. Excited to fly in the air. And then go inside the top lot. Just for a moment, the dragon's arrogant roar echoed through the earth and the sky. The inflammation at the same time was the most obvious. Summon begins to burn the dragon. After a while, 9 dragons from inside the plot. The top comes out and starts flying through the air. Right now. Most likely, the medicine is slowly coming in. In his mouth he muttered the secret battle. 9 long acupressure. Suddenly there was an explosion in everyone's ears. Then I was blinded by the fire. Waiting for the light to scatter, the 9 big flies split up again. The 9 dragons suddenly turned blue. Emit these dazzling rays. People can't even look at it. I was so scared to shout this out. What's going on? If you look closely at this moment, the 9 fire dragons have changed a little. At one moment the inflammatory bar formed the dragon's body. I could see there was a very clear head. Through the systemic veins. Peek at this scene. I can't help but cry out in my heart. And then you train in a minute. Raise your head to the sky and watch. There is no exception. Amazing law big. The lifeblood of this fire dragon himself. There are 9 different colors. How did he do it? Strictly this moment. In the eyes that are constantly shrinking, his will to fight is now gone. With this power he can't be compared either. He looked up at the sky to murmur. But in a moment, you can practice medicine. Convenient to carry pharmaceutical fluid divided raw. This is really about the old man. I don't even dare to think. Pharmaceutical chemistry has extremely high requirements for mastery of medicinal materials, along with extremely precise fire control. But most probably not only did it. There are more than 100 medicinal plants, split in minutes into 9 different parts. Why does the world have such magical knitting techniques? How to have monastic training? A genius like this. After seeing the worst, he stopped. I was curious to ask Master Song. I don't know what magic you used, but it's so incredibly dynamic. Most likely, a soft laugh. Haha, that's the battle. It's just a little practice that supports knitting. Then he turned back towards the grave. Is weakening speaking. High quality pharmacy knit. If you want to get to the top, then you must give Falun Dawn psychic. Based on self-interest. Bring the spirit in heaven and earth fire spirit. Giving gifts to knitting medicine is one way, but it's too dangerous. If every monk does that, every time you practice knitting, you have to be the lowest born, so there's no reason. He just finished. In his serious eyes flashing through the unknown light. Suddenly in my heart is clear. I can't help but hear this word. In the eyes appeared fetish rays. Keep asking that question, Master. This person is an animal. Maybe I was awake gray before. Not waiting for her to finish. The worst of the world has admitted that it is not wrong. All around us there is the existence of spirit. Fu Lin is the spirit of heaven and earth, endowed for knitting medicine. Heaven and earth spirit fire. It's one of the sources of inspiration. Especially where it's down. 7 is the land with the most spirit. There will be more souls born there. People who don't usually find it. But today I'm going to show you this ancient battle. Fire Dragon Battle. 180 for Fire Dragon. Stop for a moment, and the world will continue to speak. Once upon a time it was a house. But according to the different schools, the battle is also divided. Today we are going to show the spirits around. To become a dragon. It is not a true dragon god. But reluctantly, there is also a bit of dragon spirit. Absolutely no less than the celestial body. The fire of 1,000 years appeared. The word just ended. Everyone was amazed at the knitting battle technique. Never seen in the ancient books. Never heard of it either. But this man doesn't say the sky. Even the six. Neither AI can have super Vietnamese knitting techniques through Y. The greatest knitting master. There is no doubt that Y. But seriously heard also raised doubts. He's spent over 15 years in the field of knitting. I've never heard of the art of war. But the truth is in front of you. It's even more real, and it's so powerful. Who is this guy after all? About knitting. He completely lost. But his Vi goes beyond that. Maybe he still has a chance. Thought. Looking forward to your next action. Right now. The decision in the most evil hand changed again. 9. The image of the fire dragon once again screamed for an hour. Lifting under the roar. The dragon's body suddenly broke. In everyone's astonished eyes. Turn into yourself. Another little dragon. A moment after the medicine in hand. Probably the most. In the blink of an eye has been transformed into one. Everyone who saw this rolled their eyes in amazement and screamed. The dragon's body is broken. There are 9 little dragons. Save most feet look. 9 kinds of medicinal herbs. It's been perfected in just a moment. Afraid to scream. Master Song's 9 medicinal herbs. In order of training to become one. It's blinking. An earth-shaking scene. This cave has really left people with eyes. There's fear here. It's too unbelievable. He is now a genius monk as serious as tongue. He also opened his mouth wide in wonder. And yet, in the critical moment. Again trained in a split second. This is what that not every monk can do. But most probably still focus on knitting. Not paying attention to the reactions of everyone around you. In the hands of constantly practicing knitting medicine. Every now and then the roar echoes again. Echoing the earth and sky. The dragon head suddenly zoomed again into the center of the stage. The 9 dragon heads collided. This place is covered in flames. Completely disappeared without seeing 3 breath. 1 moment later, in the sea of fire scattered 9 little dragons. There were 18 dragons in the sky. Screaming, come quickly. People can't keep up with their speed. Look at this scene. Most likely, he grinned with an evil smile for an hour. Haha, it should be over. In the end, a small jewel appeared. It's the jade Bodhi. It's easy to let him go. Give it back to Y. And then he opened the lid. A gas that has a strong life spreading out. In a flash land to the entire audience. In a moment, the jade translated Bodhi is opened. The eyes of the monks, including seriously looking towards, probably a little surprised. So that's the jade Bodhi. Everyone knows this. It is the long-term protection of Holong. Reappeared in Western medicine. Come here. People are constantly speculating about his condition. Maybe he's a knitting master. Invited by Holong to deal with the pharmacy. If so, Holong Dance organized Batch Dawn Festival. This time I want to show my strength and fight back. Then, suddenly right now, the best hand jacket put 18 drops of jade into the air. 18 little dragons swallowed in their mouths. Then shout out a loud clandestine cry. Long moist turtle 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 Lindon. Following his scream, there's another earth-shattering roar. 18 dragons. Screaming then with the bar inflammation gradually disappeared. It's turned into fireballs. Firelight scatter. One family inside a group of bright lights of Danhone. It's also a smell that spreads out. It just makes people excited. The opposite, seriously look at 18 knitted medicinal tablets. The body immediately fell to the ground. I was afraid to shout, "Master." But right now, I'm not paying attention. He's still in fear. My body trembling to speak. Knitting has a hunch like this. The old man died again and again, just trained for one session. And he just came out in the blink of an eye and trained to be 18. Finally, he shook his head, in eyes full of dreary rays. The most arrogant person standing there. Collected 18 knitting pills just finished processing to hand. They're basically not able to see their level. Floundering on the side, behind his back, Master Song. Knit medicine he made. But she hasn't finished yet. Most likely the world has coldly cut through the atmosphere. Confidently said no need to watch anymore, we won. Hear this word. The monks bowed their heads to him at the same time. The look on his face could not help but show respect. It's not too much of a judge. No matter what, you have to declare the results to everyone. Then she said a little reluctantly, Master Song. I also believe you have the victory. But in the end, you have to tell people. What grade do you practice? 18 knitting balls, 8 products. Most probably just talking quietly, and yet these words reached the hands of all. In a moment, the crowd was again 18. But it's 18 knitting super 8 products that are too paradoxical. About this, it can only appear in ancient mythology. This person is Tai Sao Monster. Hear the answer. Doesn't need many words. One immediately declare that I declare. The king of Batch Dawn is in full swing this time. Master Song. But she hasn't finished yet. Probably most people didn't care. Lift your feet straight towards the display of bodhicitta. Arrogant atmosphere. Arrogant ass says out a sentence. Apart from myself, no one has the right to claim that I am King Dawn. 185 Great Dawn Vuong. The words of the most extraordinary are so extravagant. But this moment, there's no one to argue against. Because they have real power. Take his technique of knitting the celestial and earth sutras. Don't say the empire of heaven. Even in the 6th grade, there are not many people comparable. You have the right to be proud of the world. Because he has the capital to be extravagant. To dig up the land right now. Look at the back shadow. Scatter the air of the king of the most ordinary track. Step by step hubris to the gallery. In the silent joy. This other hour. She's not only happy that the future of the long-lived flower has been saved, but also excited because someone was able to control the monster. At this time, BA is also constantly complaining. Yangtze wave after wave bucket before. The first monk training of the Tang dynasty. It was completely defeated today. It also means the end of the master's training. At the same time as you, the new generation will stand on the false body. They founded a new era. But fortunately, this man is one of them. I have been watching the match carefully. Even though he knew from the beginning, I'm sure the world will win this war. But he didn't expect it either. He won so fiercely. There is no escaping a little blame right now. Let's look at the king of medicine. Now I'm scared to this extent by that kid. I also feel sorry for him. That boy is a good actor. Initially said, I'm not sure if I won the medicine. Now what? He not only won, but won beautifully. Win to overwhelm. Another 9 hours. He was also very surprised by his talent. Look at each step-by-step pressure on the situation as it is now. He finally understood. Ever since, he's never seen through this man. It doesn't matter if it's physical or mental. It is really unfathomable. You can surprise him every time. Then he held his hand and said, the boy is really dangerous. No mercy at all. You just need to make a superfood. 8 points is a complete win. But he trained raw 18 times. Like this, it's a fatal blow to knitting. That the king of medicine is most proud of. This attack. He must have lived an obsession all his life. There's a little surprise. Thank God, I can't believe it. He said he would give birth to a ghost. Long Nine slowly nodded in exclamation. Even if there is no, I'm afraid it will be difficult to practice Super Dawn in my whole life. This kid's malice is chilling. Right now, the bottom most likely walked to the radio. Only one touch of the hand can get the bodhicitta. But he was slow to act. Grip the cloak tightly. Then put on your hand. The robe was immediately hung on the high pole. The foremost common words are like that. Arrogance appears in front of everyone. The action is most likely to be completed with satisfaction. Italy is here today. Wearing this robe to the knitting match. I just want to pay my debt of gratitude. That the hour.